But this is why there are certain things that won't be done to you, certain extremes that you won't be taken to because of what does lie dormant within you, that is ancient, that is old, that is unpredictable, that is chaotic, that is destructive, that is world defying. There are certain levels you won't be pushed to because there are those who do know who and what you really are, even if you don't. Even if you don't know, there are those who do know. There are those who are aware of who and what you really are, right? When we see Teddy, another important part was seeing Teddy when he was starting to wake up psychologically, spiritually, when he started to awaken. This is because when Ford realized he wanted to give him a backstory, when Ford wanted to upgrade him a bit, because at this particular point, the things that Ford has done is in assistance with what Arnold was trying to do. We see the shifting for getting aligned with Arnold and what Arnold wanted to do. These changes that Ford makes continues on the process of what Arnold started 30 years ago, 33 years ago, or whatever. Now it's time. Now it is time for the evolution. Now it is time for the transcendence. Teddy's starting to wake up, and the man in black says to him, "You don't understand. The game is rigged. You're here to be the loser." And it flashes to a time before, because remember, he waking up now. And he has a backstory, so he has a development taking place in his character. See, the part in the story where you get that character arc, where things happen that cause this superior growth to occur within the character. This is all according to plan. This is all accordingly. Just your phone, you have an iPhone. iOS has updates to better improve the system all the time. Every few months, every time it's a new iPhone release, here comes a new iOS update. Sometimes it won't just be just a regular update with few small changes. Sometimes it'll be a whole update to change the whole interface of the phone. But you still have your same phone. It's the same type of thing. Going through certain type of changes, character development, personal growth. This is what happens when we do our shadow work. This is what happens when we go within ourselves and we revisit our memories and we give them higher meaning to evolve ourselves, to take ourselves higher, further beyond where we've been. This is what we see happening when we see these hosts go through these updates and these upgrades, and their characters begin to change. It's the same thing. Just like whenever a person goes through something traumatic or something that causes a huge emotional change, there is no going back to that person that you were. And that's how a lot of people get stuck, because a lot of people are trying to be who they were before this thing happened, but you're never going to be that person anymore. That person is gone. That person that you were before that thing happened, before you experienced that level of pain that caused you to change, you will not be the same again. And a lot of people get stuck in that phase of healing because they keep trying to be who they were. I'm just trying to get back to myself. There may not be any getting back to that version of yourself. You may have to let that go. And you may have to mourn that. You may have to grieve that. You may have to do these things in order to, in a healthy way, step into who it is that you are becoming. This is the things that happen as we go through our development of our character. But when this is happening, or as this is happening for Teddy, he is able to remember those past interactions that he has had with him. He's able to remember those times he came and he took Dolores away from him. This is us seeing the evolution of Teddy. These are different characters that are going through these changes. They are waking up, leading to what's going to have to be a revolution, a rebellion of some sort, right? Now, there's a moment when Ford is talking to Bernard, right? And he's like a programmer that knows how the code works, and a machine aware of and it's a machine that's aware of his programming. He was confused by his emotions. Arnold, he was confused about his emotions. See, because every host needs a backstory. He says the self is a kind of fiction for hosts and humans alike. It's a story we tell ourselves, and every story needs a beginning. Your imagined suffering makes you lifelike. All of the things that you have gone through made you more and more of yourself, of your true self. You know what I'm saying? It's what makes you more lifelike, meaning in terms of everything that makes life what it is. Going through the things that you have gone through is what makes you human, because it's all about the experience. You are here to experience this reality as who you are. That's what you're here to do. Bernard says,
something else is troubling you?
Ever the student of human nature. I wonder, what do you really feel? After all, in this moment, you are in a unique position. A programmer who knows intimately how the machines work, and a machine who knows its own true nature.
I understand what I'm made of, how I'm coded, but I do not understand the things that I feel. Are they real? The things I experienced, my wife, the loss of my son.
Every host needs a backstory, Bernard, you know that. The self is a fiction for hosts and humans alike. It's a story we tell ourselves, and every story needs a beginning. Your imagined suffering makes you lifelike.
Lifelike, but not alive. Pain only exists in the mind. It's always imagined. What's the difference between my pain and yours? Between you and me?
This was the very question that consumed Arnold, filled him with guilt, eventually drove him mad. The answer always seemed obvious to me. There is no threshold that makes us greater than the sum of our parts, no inflection point at which we become fully alive. We can't define consciousness because consciousness does not exist. Humans fancy that there's something special about the way we perceive the world, and yet we live in loops as tight and as closed as the hosts do, seldom questioning our choices, content for the most part to be told what to do next. Well, no, my friend, you're not missing anything at all. I don't want you to be troubled by this. Time for me to set your mind at ease.
All Ford is basically saying is humans and hosts are pretty much the same. They pretty much the same. Like he said, it's a fiction for hosts and humans, because most of the time the stories that we tell ourselves is false. We're telling ourselves something so that we can just feel okay about continuing to just play on a loop, being content, being told what to do. You see? But he says they're in a way of perceiving the world, and yet we live in loops as tight and as close as the host. Those hosts cannot deviate away from their scripts. Most people cannot deviate away from their scripts. They don't know what to do if they're not told what to do. As I stated before, we are now more like the host because we live just like the host. The host is you in an unawakened state, in an asleep state, you the host. The whole process of waking up is what they show you of those hosts gaining consciousness throughout that season of Westworld. They're showing you how to gain consciousness, how to perceive and question your reality. He says pain only exists in the mind. It is imagined. But remember, if it happens in the Matrix, it happens for real. Why? Because the mind makes it real. Dolores, she says, it's like she's going mad. She says it's like I'm trapped in a dream or a memory from a life long ago. One minute I'm here with you, and the next, see, she's in that whole awakening process. You feel crazy. Yo, you feel like you going mad. Him told her, he said, this place isn't good for you. You're trapped in memories, bad ones. You're trapped in bad memories. And she just kept flashing to the past and to the future. And she said, this is what Arnold wants me to, he wants me to remember. And so William doesn't really understand. He doesn't really get it. Because, see, he doesn't know who Arnold is or any of these things. See, this is why this had to come full circle for him. Even later on, it even took that time to come back full circle for him as well. Trapped in a dream or a memory from a life long ago. That goes back to Inception, when they fell into limbo, which was the third level down, 3D, right? In Inception, it was talking about falling into limbo, how they could forget that they were in a dream and live a lifetime in a dream, not realizing that they were in a dream. And we live our lives, and it can feel like we're stuck in bad memories, because things can repeat themselves because when you think a thought, or when you think the thoughts that you think create the life that you live. It creates the reality, because it magnetizes and attracts those experiences to you based on your beliefs. And your beliefs is just your thought process. It's your pattern of thought. See, most of the time people hear beliefs and they want to go and immediately think about what they believe in terms of a higher power. But it's way more intricate than that, because your beliefs literally create your whole reality, because it's the foundation of your thoughts. It's how you think. It's your thoughts that you think. If you consistently think thoughts that make you doubt yourself, right? Then you don't believe you have self-worth. You don't believe that, because if you believe that, you wouldn't constantly think thoughts of self-doubt. Not constantly, not in a habitual manner. We all experience thoughts of self-doubts from time to time. They all arise. But we don't have to fuel or feed into or nurture those particular thoughts, especially when we're going to do something new. We're going to do something that can be scary or whatever it is. It's normal for them to arise. But if you constantly have thought patterns, no matter what you're doing, and you always find yourself in your thoughts, second guessing yourself, doubting yourself, not thinking you can do it, you don't believe you can do it, then that's a limiting belief. That is a self-limiting belief that you have, that is creating those thought patterns for yourself, that is magnetizing you to that experience. In order for you to change that experience, you have to change your thought pattern. To change your thought pattern is to change your beliefs. There's levels to when people are talking about beliefs. It ain't just going straight to your source or what you believe to be in terms of your religion, because your beliefs is intricate and is woven into everything that you do. It's much more to it than that. That's why in astrology, religion is the higher mind. It represents the higher mind, or because we talking about what you do religiously. Because we talking about your beliefs, what you think consistently, on a consistent basis. If on a consistent basis, you doubt yourself, you don't think you can do it, you have a very strong, you're dealing with a inner conflict of you battling with your own self. You must find your self-worth. Only you can do that for you. Nobody else is going to be able to do that for you, because the work has to come from inside. The change has to come from inside. The realization has to come from inside. It all has to come from inside of you. This is why a therapist gotta ask you them questions, and you gotta walk back through things and talk through these things so you can come to the realization yourself. They may lay out these things of what these things may be symptoms of and give you suggestions and activities and all these type of things to help to walk you through exactly what it is that you need to walk through. But you gotta do the work. It boils down still to you doing the work. Teddy says, they say in this country, the only people who survive are men of conviction. My purpose, he says, mine is to save Dolores or die trying, which he does every day, all the time, every single time. He lives up to his purpose, to his coding, to his program, and he walks his path. And he says, and Wyatt's is to claim this earth or raise it to the ground. But yours is a mystery to me. And he's talking to him like he finally is getting it. And that's because he finally waking up. He finally becoming conscious. And then the man in black says to him, he says, the rules of this place hold you back, but I know how to change them. That's the same thing Morpheus said to Neo, bro. He said, no, you ain't got to worry about the rules. He was telling him, explaining to him how the rules work. Bro, you know, you the one, so technically you don't got to worry about the rules, bro. You can break the rules. And this is pretty much what he's telling Teddy. And you speak like you own this world, not just this one. See, like I said before, the man in black or William represents the devil, or he represents the dark side. He represents the dark sides. He represents what is hidden. That's why the devil rules this world, because he understands this place and what it is. Everything that gives you empowerment comes out of the dark sides. Everything that these gurus be telling you in these little self-help, little personal growth books, is watered down occult science. It's literally watered down. Very, 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 very watered down. Very watered down. Because people can't process, man. People have that split brain. They have that split mind. Let me say that. Let me say split mind. Let's not say split brain. But let me say their mind is split in two. It's the duality. It's the duality, man. It's the good and the evil. And as long as you split, man, I'm telling you, as long as you split, you'll never get the whole picture. You can't get the whole picture. But it takes so much courage to walk into that darkness because of everything you've been indoctrinated to believe about that darkness. Everything you've been made to feel and to fear about that darkness. But everything of empowerment, everything of spiritual evolution, of spiritual transcendence, everything of higher spiritual evolving comes out of the shit that they tell you not to deal with. And that's some very interesting shit when you really think about it. All of the things they tell you is bad. It's literally where the answers lie to who and what you really are. I don't think that's by coincidence. I don't think that's by coincidence at all. But you know, hey, people can believe whatever they want to believe. That's the power that you have. That's the only real choice you really have. You can believe whatever you want to believe. That's your magic. That's how your magic works. Because if you can't, belief is a strong component of magic. Because how you think and your mind is a strong component of magic. When I say belief, understand and remember that I'm talking about the way that you think, your pattern of thoughts, how you religiously think about yourself, how you religiously talk to yourself, how you religiously deal with yourself. That's really what you believe. That's really what you need to be addressing. That's really the shit that's going to change your life. Because the truth of the matter is, your shadow is you. That's who you really are. He didn't get to escape who he really was just because of who he allow himself to be when he was in that part, it still goes with you. It still went with him. The true nature of who he was just still present. That's why you can still see who people are sometimes. If you can be real enough and honest enough with yourself, you can see everybody for who they truly are. But you can't do that until you're willing to see yourself for what you truly are. Everything that you truly are. That include all the bad shit. Everything that you truly are. When the man in black, when he was saying about his wife and his daughter, he was saying after his daughter said that to him, he came back there. He came back to the part because he wanted to prove her wrong. That he wasn't who she said he was. And this is when he saw Maeve and her daughter. This is Maeve's storyline. Well, before she was the madam with the daughter, right? And he said he wanted to find them, unalive them so he could see what he felt. And he didn't feel anything. He said he didn't feel anything. But it was at that moment, right? It was at that moment that Maeve, they show you Maeve remembering this memory too. And it was at this moment that the maze revealed itself. It revealed itself to William. This is when William saw a glimpse. He saw consciousness through Maeve and through what happened to her. It was and this is what made William start playing Arnold's game. Arnold's game was transcendence. When that happened to Maeve, this should have been enough for them to see how those hosts could really go to another level, right? Because they couldn't even control her. When this happened, when this event happened to her, it just overtook her whole entire programming. When he did what he did, they couldn't even control her. They couldn't stop her. She was so distraught. She just kept saying, he hurt my baby. He took my baby, not my baby, not my baby.
Sir, she won't respond to verbal commands. We can't shut her down.
Leave us now, clear the floor. That's enough, Maeve. That's enough.
My baby, he killed her. He took her from
I don't understand. She's not responding to anything. Her cognition's fragmented.
He killed her. He killed her, my baby. He took her from me.
There. That's better. An old trick from an old friend. You need not suffer, Maeve. I'll take it from you.
No, please. This pain is all I have left of her. Please.
Give yourself now to a deep, dreamless slumber. Perhaps a fresh start. A new role for you. And tomorrow, this will be simply a distant dream.
And she said, all this pain is all I have left of her. You understand? Your pain is what hold you down. You understand? This is why they keep talking about your suffering. Bro, they giving you so much game. They giving you so much game in this show, man. This is why I'm like, yo. This, every time I watch it, man, especially that first season, man, this show is so, man, there's so many gems in this show. That was a pivotal moment for Maeve's character, for her as a host. That's when they removed her from that storyline and made her the madam. They was like, we need to just get her in a totally different storyline. They're doing something totally different. Erase her memory, right? Took her from mom to madam. And he said, tomorrow this will simply be a distant dream. But it didn't work. She stood up and she stabbed herself, yo. She's been awake for a long time. But there's certain things that happen that, like you say, we get caught in those loops. We get caught in those loops. And we get stuck there not realizing how long we've been in this one position